when we talk about throughput accounting, we say that throughput ibingana ubundi no gufata sales revenue minus raw material cost. No kuvuga ngo when we remember tuntse twiyibukije muri marginal costing, in marginal costing yego hari ikintu twita contribution margin. Twayibonaga dute? Twafataga sales tugakuramo uta variable cost. Izi variable cost bakoragamo zabaga zigizwe n'iki? Component of variable cost. Zabaga ari ibingibi byaga birimo. Twashyaga direct material hano, tugashyira direct material hano, sibyo? Tugashyira hano direct labor, tukazishyira hano, ukaza kuri direct expense if any, ukazishyiraho. So ibi ngibi biteranyaga ugahita ubona ibara biteranyaga ugahita ubona prime cost. Nuko dushyiraho variable production overheads only. Nibyo washyiragaho ubundi ikibazo cyawe kikaba cyakemutse, ukabonye icyo twita variable cost zacu. Wazishyiragaho urumva wahitaga ubona icyo twakita variable cost. Iyi yabaga ari variable cost, yabaga ari variable cost, sibyo? Yabaga ari variable costs. Variable cost yanjye yagomba kuba ari iyi ngiyi. Bikumvikana? So nuko ndemyanga variable cost. None hano turavuga ngo throughput ni sales minus raw material cost, which means our variable cost is direct material. Ibi byose bitwabonagamo hano tugiye kubyasuminga nka hari iki, turaza kubyasuminga as fixed cost. Ikintu kiri variable ni direct material only. Ukuvuga ngo in throughput material cost, you can say material cost, material costs are considered as totally variable costs. It is very understandable and clear. Now these are assumptions here we first make when we are in throughput. And another thing, it is like this one is used in a short term, what I can say. So we're going to see an example. Is it okay? So we're going to see an example. Let's see example. So I'm going to put here an example, which is very simple. Example on throughput. So example, let me bring here an example. Throughput. Are you able to see here my screen? Okay, you're able to see my screen. Okay, let me wait for the screen to come for you. Wow, now it is coming. So for this example, they are saying that Anne recorded a profit of $120,000 in the accounting period just ended using marginal costing. They use marginal costing. The contribution over sales ratio, what we call contribution margin ratio. the CM ratio is 75%. Raw material cost were 10% of sales value, and there were no other variable production overhead costs. Fixed cost in the period were $300,000 US. Required, what was the value of throughput in the period? Simple question. Very, very simple question. Very, very simple question. Now, how can we work on this? I'm going to write this data we have. Okay, let me come to my Excel. Let me bring this example to the Excel. Let me bring this example to Excel file. Then we go together. So my example 1. Okay. Example, it is here. My example is here. Example 1. Okay, this is example. And recorded a profit of 120. This is the data we have. What profit of 120? So here, to make a solution of this question, can we say solution? So the solution here, solution is this. Okay, given data, to understand the question quickly, we have profit. Profit is equal to how much? It is 120. Is it okay? Profit is 120. And also here, I am having also in the accounting period just ended using marginal costing, the contribution margin divided by sales ratio, it is 75%. What you call CM ratio. We call it contribution margin ratio. Bayibona gute? Dufata contribution margin. Kandi ukuntu tubona contribution margin ni uko dufata iki? Contribution margin ukuntu tubona mubyibuka. Please remember. Ukuntu tubona contribution margin nawe nababwiye ko ari gufata sales uvanyemo variable cost. Niko tumaze kuvuga mu kanya. So, contribution margin ngiyo, you divide it by sales revenue. Is it okay? Sales revenue. Then you'll be having your contribution margin ratio. Is it okay? So once we continue, we shall see what we are talking about. So this contribution margin is two sales ratio. They gave me this ratio. They said it is 75% here in the question. They say contribution divided by sales, the ratio, the answer they got is 75%. So raw material cost were 10% of sales value. The raw material was 10% of sales value, and there were no other variable production overhead costs. Fixed cost in the period were 300,000. So we have fixed cost and raw material cost. That is another thing. They say raw material cost. They give me raw material cost. They say that it is 10%. I will multiply by sales value. Is it okay to get raw material cost? That one will be my raw material cost. So, and here they come and they tell me that the fixed cost is equal to how much? 300,000. 300,000. 300,000. So I came here, and that is only the data I have here. They say required. What was the value of throughput in the period? So once I look at this, I know to find the throughput, I know that in my mind, I know that I need to take sales value minus raw material cost. Is it okay? raw material costs. Atambona my throughput. Now, nkibaza, do I have sales? Do I have raw material cost? They say a raw material cost is 10% of sales. And here, there is no sales I have. So how can I determine sales? Itanibaza mu mutwe wanjye, how can I get sales? So remember akakan. Remember this. Remember, let me remind you these things. Remember, when you are doing income statement, you have here sales. Is it okay? Your sales will be here. And if you have variable cost, is it okay? You will remove it here. We say less. If you remember, we say less. Less variable cost. And then we remain with contribution margin. Contribution margin or gross profit. Okay, let me say contribution. Contribution. It will be this. Then you raise the fixed cost because it's another cost which is remaining to be moved. So remove here your fixed cost. So after removing this fixed cost, here you'll be having it. Okay, we continue. I'm sorry, I was out of connection, but we come back. Let's continue. Let's proceed from where we are. Is it okay? Let's continue. So write a message on a comment chat box. I shall see there. Also, as well as question. Then you ask me after finishing it. Here you'll be having a net profit. After removing this fixed cost, let's continue. So this is a net profit you get at the end. So now, in my question, I have this fixed cost. Is it okay? This fixed cost is okay. Let me write it here. Fixed cost is okay. I have it. So I'm asking myself, do I have net profit? Yes, net profit is here. Look at here. Net profit is 120, which is this figure they sell. And I recorded the profit of 120. Here you have net profit here. I'm going to have net profit. Is it okay? So I have here net profit. What does this mean? Automatically, this means that if I take this and I add, okay, let me say this was like my negative. This was like a negative. Is it okay? If I have, because it has to be less, we say less. If I have this plus this, I'll be having contribution. Is it okay? Which means you can, another way you can get a contribution by taking profit plus fixed cost plus fixed costs. We'll be having the contribution margin. So which will be 420. 420. Hashumbi magana tatu. Neranya ibihumbi ijana na makumyabiri. Muri magana makumyabiri. Kuko ufashe magana makumyabiri ugakuramo magana tatu, automatic rero nako tubona ibihumbi bingahe? Ijana na makumyabiri. Very simple, very very simple. Now, ndibaza ahangaha ngo variable cost zingana gute? Sales of course nizo ngamije gushaka. Sales I don't know. Nizo ngamije ngiye kwishakira. So, if I have this contribution margin, sales ratio here, when you look at here, if I have this, how can should I be, asking myself that if I am able to determine the sales value if I have contribution and I have this CM ratio, I know it is possible to me to get it because I say contribution ratio, so okay, CM ratio, it is 75%. Sorry, it is 75%. 75%. What I do, I come and say CM. That's okay. CM ratio will be equal to contribution. My contribution is 420. Here, I get it. This one, I get it. It is 420 contribution. Then I divide it. I will divide it by. I will divide it by how much? I'll divide it by the sales, which is X. Let me say sales. Let's say I divide it by sales because I don't know sales. Don't know sales. I need to divide it by sales. Is that okay? We'll divide it by sales. Okay, let me put it here to be very clear. Okay, this is my CM ratio. CM ratio is 75%. So will be equal to 75% will be equal to 420 divided by sales. Is it okay? This 75% is equal to this. Do you get my point? Okay. Okay, come here and put here 75 is equal to 75%. 75%. But I don't want this, I want percentage figure. It is this 75%. When I take this, it's okay. When you take 420 divided by this sales, you don't know, you get 75. Now, are we able to determine this sales from this formula? I know we can get the sales by taking this 75 multiplied by this sales over this. Is it okay? It will give me my sales figure. It's like cross multiplication. So let's do it. I'm going to take 75%. It's a cross multiplication. 75% multiply by sales. Is it okay? Will be equal to 420. Is it okay? So now I'm going to find this sales, which will be equal to 75% sales or 75% X, which is 0.75. 75% is 0.75. Is it okay? 0.75. Is it okay? X or sales. Sales is equal to 420. These are the same. So if I multiply 75% multiplied by sales, it will be 0.7 or it will be 75% sales. So now if I wanted this sales, how can I get it? I will take this 420 divided by 0.75. I'm going to have 560. This is my sales revenue. So, and if this is my sales revenue, how will I get? That is my question. How will I get the throughput? And I know raw material cost is 10% of sales, which means simply which means raw material cost is ajingana mukurikire, it will be 10% multiply by 560. Is it okay? 560. Please follow, which will be equal to 56,000. Answer will be 56,000. This is my raw material cost. So please remember this. This is my raw material cost, and I have this sales value. So the data you need, I get now. I need this 560 and this 10%. To mean I'm going to remain with 90%, which is throughput. Okay, throughput. Make it simple. Throughput will be equal to this. It will be, formula is sales. Sales is this figure minus raw material cost, which is 56,000. So I get my throughput. Are we together? So I get my throughput. This is throughput the question was asking. Very, very, very simple. Is it okay? This was very simple. Very, very simple. Very simple. Okay, this was the answer I was trying to find. So, any question? Now the time is for asking question.